What's going on? Zeek's Cast, Zeeksters. This is Zeke here from Zeek's Comics and Games. A whole lot of Zeeks there for you here at the intro. And hopefully you guys can see this video and hear me doing really well in our brand new gaming room that we are putting together for Pokemon, the trading card game. Behind me is an awesome mural that we are actually working on the next couple of weeks and hopefully we'll have done so we can start actually showcasing this room off to many of you guys. So today's quick Zeek's Cast videos kind of discuss a little bit what's going on here in the store. I do apologize if there's any type of jankiness when it comes to the actual recording of things, but I'm gonna look through my notes here, and if I have to go through and edit this, and that's what I just have to do. So this week, guys, we've basically been posting up on Zeek'sComicsAndGames.com, talking a little bit about what we're doing here at the shop in regards to Pokemon, the trading card game. There's been a lot of news that we've had to share with you guys since the beginning of the month. So real quick, let's just get things out of the way. Check us out on Zeek's Cast on YouTube. You hit subscribe. Make sure to like those videos and watch those videos. That's how eventually we can get monetized so we can do more videos for you guys in the near future. If you're new to Zeek's Cast, it's basically a video blog / podcast for us here at Zeek's Comics and Games, local gaming store in Central Illinois area. This is really just for fun. We like to do this for you guys. We also are on Instagram with ZeekCG Official or Facebook.com/ZeekCG if you'd like to follow us on Facebook. We also have a Discord too. If you'd like a link to that, feel free to message us on Facebook or on the YouTube channel. You can comment and ask for a link. We'll be happy to share it with you guys. Real quick, special shout out to our friend Justin West, who not only became a Pokemon trading card game professor, but he has also started up his YouTube channel, Pokemon Dubs. That's at PokeDubs TCG with the P and D capitalized. So you guys should definitely check out his channel. You'll see a lot of Zeke's conversations coming up there in the next couple months, and we'll be doing some awesome giveaways with PokeDubs and looking forward to having that partnership here with the store going forward. I'd like to talk a little bit also, the overview of today. There's quite a bit to talk about, so we'll kind of just start things off here, clicking through my script. But basically, today's going to kind of talk about what do we do here at Pokemon for the TCG, what do we do for Pokemon Club, challenges and cups, kind of what a case tournament is, and then we will discuss, how do we factor trade-ins, how do we decide upon dates and our goals for the Pokemon TCG here at the store. Now, I covered a lot of this on the Zeek's Comics and Games website. We did kind of give you guys a very big overview of kind of a little bit about all this. So this might be a little redundant if you've already read that post. There might be some new information, though, for you guys to enjoy. But basically, guys, let's start things off with Q2 and the important dates you should look forward to the most. April 22nd is our Pokemon Case Tournament. This is for the Scarlet and Violet set. There's a ton of people signed up for this thing already with a cap of 40 players. I think we're pretty close to that. And that's happening this Saturday, or depends when you watch it. It's April 22nd. Our first Pokemon League Challenge is on May 16th. It's our third Tuesday of the month of May. Along with May 27th is our Paldea Evolved pre-release event. June 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, there's a regional at the Milwaukee. There's a regional in Milwaukee with a lot of our players going out there to try their hand at some competitive play. June 17th, we have our first official League Cup since COVID. That's super exciting. That's for championship points you guys can earn, along with going to those regionals. It helps you guys get your rankings for Worlds. June 20th is our next challenge, and then June 24th is our Paldea tentatively evolved case tournament. So we will be planning those out. So there's a lot of great events that are coming up here at the shop for you guys to really take some time with, and hopefully you enjoy. I know I'm super excited about a lot of this stuff, but that's a lot to kind of, process and kind of what it all means. So let's break it down for you guys real quick. So Pokemon Club. Pokemon Club is essentially a Tuesday night event we run every week around 5:30 in the evening Central Time. It's basically an open play event. This is a great way for you guys to participate if you're learning how to play, if it's something that you're wanting to get actively involved with in terms of like teaching your kids how to play and you'd like the staff to help you. This is a great way to do that. And even though challenges are going to be coming out third Tuesday of the month, it doesn't affect us from helping you guys out and teaching you guys how to play the Pokemon trading card game. Challenges and cups. So challenges and cups are basically a conversation about more competitive play focus in the store. This is something we did pre-COVID, and this is a great way for you to get your hands on more competitive play in the region. People do travel more for the cups than they do challenges. Challenges tend to be kind of a step up for the standard tournament play, but cups are the more, championship points. There's people who are willing to travel on Saturdays for those. Our community will be traveling around for that. So that's definitely what you guys can look forward to with those types of events. They're more organized play driven. So the case tournament is basically, the top 4 players split an entire case of 6 booster box of whatever set we're running. And then basically we have, pack payouts for those that are participating in general. So it's always something worth coming out to. And this next event is sponsored by Holland's here in town. They run the ice cream shop and the popcorn store. So they'll be supplying us with some awesome popcorn to give out to our Pokemon trainers. I'm looking forward to that. And so it's really exciting. We did one back in November and I thought it went really, really cool. We had a lot of people come out for that. I think it was like 43 or 44 for that and some onlookers as well. So hopefully get to do another event like that coming up in July or August. But as of right now, with all the competitive season kicking back in, there's just not a lot of time to do one of those events, especially when we're trying to keep up with all these competitive dates. But make sure to pay attention for July and August. I am planning to do something for that. And I'm really excited to get my hands on more planning, as they say, for the rest of the store's needs for Pokemon, because that's basically our number one priority here in the store. That's a good segue, though, to talk about what our goals are for the Pokemon trading card game. I think for me, the trading card game is obviously the number one thing we do here in the store. It's making sure that we have our staff is trained on it. They can speak the language when it comes to card singles, understanding value, how to trade stuff in, purchasing, collections, still working on social media presence on YouTube and Instagram. Right now, we're trying to work out some TV commercials here for Central Illinois for some of our bigger events. And we are working towards getting just a lot more focused in on consistent event coordination and planning and making sure that everybody's on the same page, because we have so many people traveling across the state for Pokemon, the trading card game. And I think that's honestly one of the most important aspects that we need to work on as a store. One of the things I wanted to discuss, though, about the shop and how we feel about Pokemon, the trading card game as a whole. The TCG is obviously, we've talked a few times here, a little bit actually in the store, but also on YouTube. We talked about it on our ZeeksComicsandGames.com about how important Pokemon is. It's one of the first communities that we really, really sunk our teeth into 2016 at the original store down in the, what would be called the, I can't remember the name of what the town is. They nicknamed it. That's so sorry about that. I'm trying to think of what we actually named that town. Sunnyland? I think that's right. So there was I'm not from this area. So like when I moved down here, there was nicknames for towns or towns that got integrated into the town we're in. But basically the original store is the point of this. And it was a small shop. We really started doing Pokemon singles, Pokemon packs. We really didn't do a lot with Magic the Gathering originally. And my goal was always to try to make sure Pokemon was like our main focus. And we started to get some of the people who are still here with us to this day, 7 years later, who ended up becoming our official judges and organizers for the store. And our first event was in 2016. We had over 200 people come out for the day, basically teaching people how to play Pokemon. We were selling Pokemon toys, plushies, card singles, booster boxes, box sets, you name it, we had it. And that's where I met so many of you who've stuck around all these years later, or, you've come in and out of the game, but basically most of you have stuck with us. And that's really exciting. And I'm really happy that we've had a strong community for, almost 8 years for Pokemon. But I would say during COVID, much like many other people who got involved in the fandom, the interest in Pokemon skyrocketed. And that allowed us to have to combat certain things like too much inflation on pricing from the online community. So we were able to keep prices fair for people and took care of them during the inflation. We were also developing VIP programs through that time period that we launched earlier this year to kind of combat box pricing and allow people to get singles for cheaper and their card supplies and things of that nature that they use here at the store at all times. That was a lot of the goal with Pokemon, was to try to formulate it in a way that it felt like it was like the thing that we are known for. Because I think a lot of years, speaking honestly, Zeeks didn't really have an identity. It was like, well, we were the new comic shop, new kids on the block, but we didn't really have that thing that is what you are and that's who they know you for. And when we saw Pokemon was really starting to grow right before COVID, and we were doing cups and challenges, we were going to regionals, and unfortunately COVID happened. A lot of uncertainty with the store. It took almost 2 years to recover from that. And, many of you know also my father passed away earlier in 2022. So there was a lot of things that were tumultuous with planning. And even though it seems like on the outside sometimes that things aren't coordinated or maybe they're not as well as you think they could be, there's always thoughts going into what we're doing for Pokemon as a brand and what I want to do with it. And not everything works, but we have always put it at the front and center of our planning and how we want to do things here in the store. And, we tried different things with Pokemon where, we were doing pricing every single day, switching out all the different things on price stickers, which was too hard. And then we developed the TCG player account so you could buy singles online. It updates at midnight every night to keep track of our price points so we don't have to make the staff do it. So that was really, really important. We also then had a lot of focus on redoing the area of where card singles were to make Pokemon front and center. It got more glass cases for it to basically be the thing, and more kids books and Pokemon related products in the store, working with a local independent artists and trying to do more Pokemon stickers and keychains and buttons and you name it. We were trying to come up with it. And there's been a lot of emphasis on really pushing that as the brand. But at the same time, we were dealing with distribution woes where we're just not able to get product. And that was a hard thing for, I think, people to grasp for the last couple of years, is it really took a while for us to build our purchasing power with distribution centers, because that's how they dictate how much product we get. And a lot of people come in the store and they just see a game shop and they think, well, I go to this shop in Florida, or I go to this shop in Indiana, or I'm in Chicago and whatever. And they start trying to compare us to those shops and what they're doing versus what we're doing. And that's not a really fair, thing to do when you're comparing things. And we'll stick with Pokemon for that. If a shop over here is charging a price for something, there's a reason why they're doing it versus a reason why I'm doing it. Everybody has different bills. Everybody has different rent to pay. We all have different, backgrounds in terms of money that we have to purchase with, versus what we don't have. And I think a lot of people lose that and they just see the dollar sign and they go, well, this place is $5 cheaper. Why should I go to Zeek's? I think if you ask that question, then you don't really get what Zeek's is. And that's not a bad thing, but Zeek's is supposed to be that brick and mortar second home for you to hang out at. Zeek's is meant for that extra dollar amounts to go to, having a staff that actually cares about your time. We spend a lot of time with people, getting to know you guys, teaching your kids how to play, birthday party planning, all these events that we're trying to design. And there's only so much amount of money that can go to Pokemon in here that doesn't affect the rest of the store, because we obviously have other communities in here that keep the ball rolling. And I think sometimes people lose that and they don't understand that they have a place to go and play at and hang at and have, some stability with some friends. And, we always talk about it being like Cheers and everybody knows your name. And I think that's true. I think a lot of what we do here plays into that. And I think when we do Pokemon planning as a whole, I think that's kind of where we want to go with things, is we really want to talk about, what can we take from those extra $5, $6, $7 from a box set that you buy from us? How do we implement that into another program to keep it going so that consumers stay happy? And I think that's the main goal for most businesses. But I think for us, we've always tried to keep the lowest price point. We were only store in the area that did loyalty programs. We're the only one doing a VIP program. We've always tried to keep prices low. Even during COVID, when everything was up 200, 300%, we were still dropping price on everything. And I think that was a really major thing that was important for us to continue to do. And I think that all that together is really why we set things the way we do. It's not out of malice. It's not because we don't care. It's not because we're being greedy. It's just sometimes certain things just don't work the way that, a consumer might think that they should. And so, so that's kind of exciting to talk about. But, let's move into a different topic this time. I think we should move on to something a little bit more positive. So switching gears here a little bit about staying positive, not just talking the business side of things, but really talking about what Pokemon the TCG is for somebody like me and my staff. I know folks that know Rochelle and Palmer and Samantha, and Carissa. They are all people who have been through Zeek's for years that started off as just customers that we've kind of grown into like a little family here, and they all were into the trading card gaming, the video games. And that's super cool. And like, that's how they got all into this. And that's how I got into this. I was around when, Pokemon first launched the video games. I still have vivid memories, like many of you do, where I was hiding underneath blankets, playing my video game with the light over the top of it so you could actually see what you were doing before we had actual LED screens. And it was super cool. And like, Pokemon was the thing when I was a kid, and all the trading cards that we had, and we had to take them to school and hide them in our desks and like play with them on the street. And don't even want to think about how many cards I've lost over time from, just damages and giveaways and things like that, because unfortunately none of us knew it was going to be this popular, 25 plus years later. But yeah, and honestly, that leads into other things that I stayed nerdy about as I got older. But Pokemon for me has always been about childhood, and it reminds me of my childhood and makes me feel happy. There's very few things that I can do in life that can trigger a happy memory like Pokemon does. And, I can play a theme song from a certain video game or moment, and I can transport myself right back to what that is. And I think that's like the power of like your fandoms when you're younger, especially when you get older. If you don't let go of those things, they become so strong, and they become, more than just a kid's game or genre defining. It gives you something to enjoy and be a part of. And I think that's really what Pokemon, the TCG is for my staff, but it's really, really that way for me. And, I fell out of video games like a lot of people over time. And I kind of got back into the trading card game in 2016, really officially, when I started to actually understand the game and play it. So that was really cool. And actually getting to meet all these new organizers and professors and players that take it to the next level that I don't have time to do, which I would love to have, but I don't. And for me, it's really cool to be able to teach that next generation of fans about taking care of their cards and how to sell their cards and how to play the game and how to teach the parents to be involved and speak, we call it the language of being able to speak and understand Pokemon, because there's 1,000 of them and I don't even remember all of them. I'm one of those basic Charizard kids that grew up with that, and that's like my boy. But if you want to talk about like a cool memory, and it's really awesome. I remember Pokemon Gold and Silver coming out, the video games. And, back then we only had like Nintendo Power, maybe a couple websites that would talk about things Pokemon related, but you didn't have the guides that would walk you through everything unless you went to the store and bought the book that told you what was going on. And I remember stumbling upon, I think it's Mount Silver. I could be wrong. Correct me in the comments below. But I think it was Mount Silver is where you fight Red. And Red is essentially the character that inspires Ash Ketchum, but basically he's on the top of this mountain. It's like a secret boss at the end of the game. And I remember being at my dad's apartment, really tiny apartment. He had this like yellowish tan oven with a bright light, and he was sleeping over here in his bed. It was a small like studio apartment. But I remember him trying to sleep and me trying to hide that I was playing that game. And when I ran into Red, and I think it was like a level 75 or 85 Pikachu, was just stomping me. But I remember every weekend staying there and staying under the light and playing it to try and beat that, and how amazing that was that a video game could do that, but also like as much time as you spent into training your Pokemon and getting to fight this like secret boss battle was such a cool concept for me as a kid. And I really, 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 really liked that and thought that was something really great to be a part of. But yeah, so like those are some things like that. And then the TCG was things we collected as kids. But like I said, I already gotten big into that when we started opening Zeeks and getting to be a part of that community. So yeah, Pokemon as a whole, what it means for us is I think you could just say that it's that inner childhood that you can appreciate. And I think it's cool to see the next generation in here learning the game and being a part of it and being able to help them stick with it and teach their parents about it. And honestly, those parents are me now. The people my age who have kids that are old enough now are learning the game and getting to relive that exposure and that fun that, we didn't always have with our parents, because all this nerdy stuff now is so accepted. And it's super great to see, friends and family and of all ages that can appreciate it. I have grandparents that come in here that are collecting their own decks that they just play with their grandkids. Like, that's such a cool concept to me that this is happening nowadays. So that's kind of the focus here at the store. If you really want to be honest here, what we're doing at Zeek's is really just trying to encapsulate all that, plan events, coordinate events, and make sure people are staying within those things and having a lot of fun, because I don't think there's enough fun in the world anymore that isn't bothered by what people think. And I think when you can have a place like this where you can come in and be yourself, I think that's what matters the most. And I think that's what makes Zeek Zeeks. And I think that's what we focus on the hardest when it comes to the Pokemon trading card game. And if not, let me know. But I do think that I will stand by that comment. And I think that's for sure what we are trying to do here at the store. So yeah, it was a great video today, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Feel free to comment down below and let us know what you think. This is another quick podcast so we can talk a little bit about the Pokemon trading card game and all the events coming up. Make sure you guys check out zeekscomicsandgames.com. We have all of our information on there about the upcoming Pokemon events. Make sure to subscribe to us, like us, watch our videos. Same thing with Pokedubs. Make sure you check out Justin's podcast. It's really cool that he's doing that. We're getting to partner with him. Plus our official, Facebook.com/ZeekCG or ZeekCG official on Instagram. There's so many Zeeks flying around in here. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys. And I hope you guys enjoyed this or listening or however you guys did it. And I will talk to you guys again very, very soon.